as sometimes happens on this channel, I spend a day where I don't really do anything, and I don't find anything interesting enough to film, or I'm feeling bad, like ill or hungover, so I don't actually film anything. So that is one of these days today. Yesterday I went out and I got a bit drunk, I had a bit to drink, and I had a lot of fun, but I killed myself basically the following day. I didn't kill myself, but that's a stupid thing to say, but yeah, I didn't really feel up to filming anything, so instead I'm making this video. First of all, I'd like to make sure you say hello to my special guests for this video. Pip, who's on my lap, and Cracker, who's on the chair next to me. I'm currently home alone, and I need to look after them, so they're staying in here with me. Obviously, I can't ask for their input on this subject because they're dogs and they can't talk, but I thought of a really interesting topic to talk about, mostly because I don't know much about it, so I think it'd be quite cool if I rambled on what I know about the subject, and then I can hear your thoughts and opinions. But what I'm going to talk about is the whole James Gunn tweet controversy and subsequent sacking by Disney. In case somehow you haven't heard about this news, because it's been pretty much taking over social media recently, James Gunn, who has directed the first two Guardians of the Galaxy films, he's also worked in the Avengers films for Disney and for Marvel, has been sacked as director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because of a bunch of tweets that he tweeted a number of years ago. That's the gist of the story. Without putting any bias or opinion into it, that's what's happened. How it all started was some Twitter users unearthed, not really unearthed, because Twitter's a public place, obviously, like it's not hard to find people's old tweets, but I've gone back through his tweets and found a whole bunch of quite strongly worded, it's quite hard to see how they're satirical, these tweets. They're about, like they mention rape a lot. It's quite like horrible. There's a bit of paedophilia in there too, and people have unearthed these. They've tweeted about, and it's been shared all over Twitter. And subsequently, Walt Disney Studios chairman Alan Horn sacked James Gunn as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on Friday, so yesterday. The official statement by Alan Horn was that, like, the attitudes and the statements that James had put onto his public Twitter profile were indefensible and they're inconsistent with Disney values, so that they've severed their relationship with him. And I mean, obviously they're very, very strong opinions, and I would strongly hope that they're inconsistent with Disney's values, because if Disney were fine with what he'd written, I would be very concerned. But what is now in kind of debate, I mean, it's not really in debate because most people agree with his sacking. That's what I can say. But there is still some opposition to it, because basically of how James had begun his career and progressed his career for a number of years. In James's own words, when he started his career, he thought of himself as a provocateur. Is that how you pronounce it? A provocateur. What am I saying? One of those people, like a satirical person who tries to kind of break the standard of comedy and what you should say, not go too far, but in his own eyes he's being satirical, and making movies and jokes that were kind of outrageous and on taboo subjects, things like that. And that's how he started his career. This is what he's saying, this isn't me telling a story. And he's saying how like, more recently he's developed and changed, and so these tweets shouldn't, don't represent him anymore. They represent what he used to be, but they don't represent how he lives his life now. So again, he then goes on to say that he's not, like, better now, but he's very different. So I guess it's him not trying to get out of it completely, I guess, because I reckon he can completely understand, by being a provocateur, that people are going to take it wrongly, like from the very beginning. As he was doing it, he probably knew that, but and obviously there's a great deal of responsibility for that, because if you're doing it knowing that there's going to be backlash to it, then it leads to question whether you do it at all. But he knew what he was doing, but now he's like trying to change up. It kind of draws parallels with the whole Pewdiepie stuff that happened, I think it was 2 years ago now. It might have been 1.5, maybe even have been 1. Time goes really weirdly when you're at university. But basically, Pewdiepie, Felix Kjellberg, did a bunch of jokes about, I think, like Nazi stuff. And from that, Nazi pages started posting about Pewdiepie as if he was now like an influencer to their cause, and after that Disney severed ties with Pewdiepie. But the big difference here is that if you looked at Pewdiepie's stuff, there you can tell it's very satirical. You can tell it's satirical, and that is because, in my opinion, that's because Pewdiepie does it to a camera. He's not typing something, he is pronouncing it, he's saying it to a camera in a way that you can pretty much, if you're sensible and like you're not dumb, can tell that it's satire. And obviously what's happened here with James, if he truly believes that this is all just jokes, it's a lot harder to tell that from something that's typed. You can't get emphasis on typing stuff, on words. Like it's hard to explain, but it's a lot easier to tell someone's joking if they say it, because you can tell by tone and voice. You can't tell tone and voice in something that's just a piece of font on a screen. So obviously that's meant that this is even worse, and considering Disney fired Pewdiepie over something that was pretty obviously satirical anyway, they're obviously going to fire James over this, considering it was very much less obviously satirical. What's kind of interesting though is that recently James came under fire from Trump supporters in the fact that he was tweeting about Donald Trump being treasonous after comments he made at a summit with Putin. And it does lead the question, because I don't know what the full Disney statement was, and whether it fully referenced the tweets that surfaced or the new tweets that he tweeted. Whether or not this is a combination of the Putin tweets and the past tweets, or if it's one or the other. So, that would be quite interesting to find out whether they're firing him over Trump comments, or over past tweets of, let's be honest, a much harsher and a lot worse comments made in those tweets compared to the stuff about Trump. Because let's be honest, the stuff about Trump is quite realistic. You can definitely read into the Trump being treasonous. That's not the point in this video. I'm just saying that I think James Gunn had a point with his Trump tweets. But that's not me saying that I support his past tweets. I've seen quite a few of them. I think that you have to be a very specific kind of person, someone who's probably very alike to James, to understand that this is just a taboo joke rather than a serious comment, because and it's not helped by the sheer number of tweets that there actually were. Like there were thousands that can be read into in a way that you can paint someone in a bad light from them. And I think he's deleted like 10,000 tweets, something like that. It's ridiculous. For the most part, the ones that I've seen were very seriously worded. There's no, for example, like a way of making something seem more like a joke when you're typing it, put an emoji in it, that kind of thing. It's not written with excessive punctuation, which can add emphasis to stuff and make it seem more joking. It's very straight comments, full stops, and that's it. Sentence done. And if you read it with a flat tone, like it's written, basically, you're pretty confused whether he's joking or not. After this whole thing started, there's been a number of people who have come out and defended James, including Dave Bautista, who plays Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy and is also famous for many other things, mainly wrestling. But I can totally see why people who work with him will happily support him, because they know the person really, really well. But the problem is not many people have a strong relationship with a famous director, and the fact that he's putting it on his public profile that anyone can go and look at, and all these people that see it, bar maybe 50 people, won't have a previous relationship with the guy, and obviously can't make a statement about him being a nice person and like aside from what he's written. So I completely understand if James is a terrific guy who's been misunderstood, as Bautista says, and also David Dastmalchian, who's in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think he's in that second one too. I mean, it hasn't come out in the UK. I don't fucking know. But like they're both supporting him, saying that it's misunderstood. Like he's one of the most amazing people they've ever known. But the thing is, with these people, especially like Dave Bautista, completely acknowledges that he's made mistakes, and we all have. The problem is that he's deleted 10,000 tweets that probably could have been read into this way, and that's quite a big mistake. I'm all for forgiving people and giving people a new chance, and definitely seeing how people develop over a number of years. People can change like that, and I'm all for forgiving James and giving him a second chance, but it's quite a big thing to give him a second chance from, and I can definitely understand Disney's decision, but I just don't know with this subject. As you can tell from this video, I am rambling on. I really don't know what I'm talking about. So let me know what you guys think. If I'm chatting absolute shit, I'd really like some help on the subject, just to understand it more, because all my news, all like I know, comes from news websites, and obviously they have a degree of picking and choosing messages and things that have been written to not suit their agenda, but they can cherry pick and avoid other subjects and other arguments that could be very important. I'm not looking on social media sites, so I can't see general consensus from like things that James has said. I haven't seen replies to his tweets, etc. So yeah, I'd like to know what's actually happening, and I'd also like to know what you guys think on the subject. Do you think that he should have been fired? Do you think that like he should have got off scot-free? Like, do you think that he should have been fired earlier? Do you think that Disney should have like known about these tweets like when he tweeted them, considering he's been working with them for a while now? That's my opinion. In my opinion, they should have been deleted a long time ago, or Disney shouldn't have hired him in the first place, considering all this stuff he's written. Now, obviously, he was a smaller director before he started working with Disney for the Guardians of the Galaxy films, etc. So, like, there wouldn't have been much attention drawn to what he's tweeted. But still, if you're working for Disney, there needs to be extensive background checks and that kind of thing. You need to know what your directors are doing and have done. So I, in my opinion, if they're going to fire him, they should have fired him ages ago. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. Pip's licking my hand. Disgusting. Yeah, let me know what you guys think on the subject. Let me know what topics I've missed, interesting points that could change my argument. And yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't have anything more interesting to talk about. I'm sorry I rambled, but that happens sometimes. Yeah, this is normally a daily vlogging channel, so if you survived this long through my video, I'm very proud of you. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next daily vlog, where I'm actually going to be filming my day. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and stay safe. Have a good one. Bye!